Imagine this. You're walking home from school on a warm, sunny afternoon, your backpack bouncing, and your favorite song playing in your head. You feel safe. You feel happy. You have no idea that, in just a few minutes, your world will change forever. But this story is not just about fear or danger. It's about a little girl who finds the strength to be brave, even when she is scared. It's about a hero who is only 7 years old. Her name was Sarah. She loved drawing pictures of her cat and always wore her favorite blue hairband. Sarah's walk from school to home was short. Her mom always said, "Go straight home, don't talk to strangers, and I'll be waiting for you." Sarah listened because she loved her mom more than anything. That afternoon, Sarah waved goodbye to her teacher and started walking home. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and her backpack felt extra heavy with all her drawings from art class. When Sarah was almost home, she saw a black car parked near the corner. The window rolled down, and a man she didn't know called out, "Hey, little girl, do you need a ride home? Your mom sent me to pick you up." Sarah's heart beat fast. She remembered what her mom had taught her: never get into a car with a stranger. But the man smiled and tried to look friendly. Sarah wanted to run, but her legs felt frozen. She tried to think fast. Then she remembered a trick her older brother taught her. "If you ever feel scared," he had said, "pretend to be brave. Talk loud and make people look at you. Bad people don't like attention." So Sarah took a deep breath. She looked right at the man and said loudly, "My mom doesn't have any friends with a black car. I'm not going with you." The man frowned. He looked around quickly to see if anyone was watching, but nobody was there. He opened the car door and took a step closer to Sarah. Sarah's hands started to shake, but she remembered one more thing: the simple trick. Sarah dropped her backpack and started screaming really loud, like her cat when it wants food. "Help, help, this man is not my dad. Help me." At first, it felt silly. But then, a lady across the street turned to look. Another man stopped his bike. People started to notice Sarah. The man in the black car panicked. He looked scared now, not Sarah. He jumped back into his car, slammed the door, and drove away fast. Sarah was shaking, but she felt proud. She picked up her backpack and walked quickly to the lady across the street. The lady said, "Are you okay, sweetheart?" Sarah nodded, tears in her eyes. But the story wasn't over. The man in the black car wasn't gone for good. He was still somewhere nearby. Sarah stood with the kind lady, her small hand clutching the woman's coat. She felt her heart thumping so loudly it almost hurt. The street was busy now, a few people asking if she was okay. Sarah nodded, trying to blink away her tears, but her voice was stuck somewhere deep inside. The lady knelt down, looking worried. "Sweetie, do you know your mom's phone number?" she asked gently. Sarah nodded. Her mom had made her memorize it. With trembling hands, She dialed the number on the lady's phone. When her mom answered, Sarah could finally breathe. She told her what happened, and her mom's voice shook, but she said, "I'm coming right now. Stay with the nice lady. Don't move." While they waited, Sarah looked around, scanning every car that passed. What if the man came back? Every black car made her flinch. The lady noticed. She said softly, "You're so brave, Sarah. He won't hurt you. There are lots of people here now." But Sarah couldn't relax. Even when her mom arrived, running with tears streaming down her face and wrapping Sarah in a tight hug, Sarah kept glancing around. A police car pulled up. The officer talked gently with Sarah, asking what happened. She told him everything: the car, the man's face, even how she'd screamed. The officer nodded and wrote it all down. He promised they would try to find the man. But that night, after her mom tucked her in and turned off the light, Sarah lay awake in bed. Every little noise outside made her heart race. She kept thinking, what if he comes back? The next morning, Sarah's school was buzzing with whispers. Teachers gave her gentle smiles. Her friends hugged her. But someone else had seen the black car too, a boy from her class. He told the teacher, and soon the police were outside, watching during dismissal time. Sarah tried to feel safe, but she noticed a strange car parked farther down the street, almost hidden behind a tree. She couldn't see the driver's face, but it was a black car. Just like before, Sarah gripped her backpack, her mind racing. Should she tell someone? Or was it just her imagination? She took a slow step toward the school doors, her heart pounding, her eyes never leaving the black car. Sarah's hand was sweaty as she squeezed the straps of her backpack. The other children ran past her, laughing and playing, not noticing the car parked beneath the big oak tree across the street. Sarah felt like her feet were stuck to the ground. She looked up and saw Mrs. Evans, the school security guard, waving at the students. Sarah took a deep breath and hurried over to her. "Mrs. Evans," Sarah whispered, glancing nervously at the black car. "I think that's the car from yesterday. The one the police are looking for." Mrs. Evans's face turned serious. She followed Sarah's gaze, then quickly pulled out her walkie-talkie. "Principal Carter, this is Evans. We may have a suspicious vehicle on Maple Street. Can you notify Officer Daniels?" Her voice was calm, but her hand was shaking a little. Sarah stayed close to Mrs. Evans as the school security team quietly moved to block the front entrance, guiding the children to wait inside. The air felt heavy, as if everyone was holding their breath. Sarah peeked out from behind Mrs. Evans. The car engine suddenly started, and the black car began to roll forward, creeping slowly past the school gates. Sarah's heart skipped a beat when the driver glanced her way a flash of sunglasses and a dark cap, but didn't stop. Just then, a police car turned onto the street, lights flashing. The black car sped up and disappeared around the corner. Mrs. Evans gently squeezed Sarah's shoulder. "You did the right thing. You're very brave." Sarah's mom arrived soon after, hugging her tightly. The police officer talked to them again, writing down everything. Sarah remembered the license plate was blurry, but she recalled a strange sticker on the back window, shaped like a lightning bolt. That night, Sarah couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those sunglasses watching her. But she also remembered Mrs. Evans's words, "You're very brave." The next morning, Sarah's mom decided to walk her to school and back home every day. The police promised to keep a patrol car nearby, but Sarah felt something inside her had changed. She wasn't just scared anymore. She wanted to help protect her friends, too. After school, Sarah saw a group of kids walking home alone. She hurried over, her voice shaking a little, but still loud. "Hey, let's all walk together. And remember, if you see something weird, tell a teacher right away." Her friends agreed, forming a little group. They looked out for each other as they walked home, checking every street corner, every parked car. But Sarah knew the man in the black car was still out there somewhere. And she wondered, would she see him again? And if she did, what would she do? Days passed, and the black car didn't return. The police kept watch, and parents in the neighborhood grew extra cautious, some even changing their routines so children always walked in groups. Sarah felt a little safer, but her eyes scanned the streets every morning and afternoon, never letting her guard down. One afternoon, while walking home with her group of friends, Sarah noticed something strange. A man standing at the far end of the playground, holding a phone. He wore a gray hoodie and kept looking at the schoolyard. But every time someone glanced at him, he turned away, pretending to text. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Was he watching them? Was he connected to the black car? She whispered to her friend Lily, "Don't look now, but see that man by the fence. I think he's watching us." Lily peeked quickly, then nodded, her eyes wide. "Should we tell someone?" she whispered. Sarah remembered what her mom and Mrs. Evans had told her. Never ignore your instincts. Always speak up. "Let's go find Mrs. Evans," Sarah said quietly. The group hurried back inside the school, acting like they forgot something. Inside, Sarah found Mrs. Evans talking to another teacher. She pulled on her sleeve, her voice urgent. "There's a man by the playground fence. He keeps watching the kids, and it feels weird." Mrs. Evans nodded. "Thank you for telling me, Sarah. Stay inside with your friends. I'll go check it out right now." From the window, Sarah and her friends watched as Mrs. Evans and another teacher approached the man. He noticed them coming and walked away quickly, disappearing down the sidewalk before anyone could stop him. That night, Sarah told her mom everything. Her mom called the police, who said they would patrol the area even more often and look for anyone matching the man's description. Sarah tried to relax, but she felt uneasy. Something told her this wasn't over yet. She began writing down everything she remembered: the man's clothes, the way he walked, even the ringtone that played when his phone rang. That weekend, Sarah and her mom decided to make posters for the neighborhood, reminding kids and parents to stay alert and walk together. At school, Sarah's bravery inspired others. Now everyone paid a little more attention, watching out for their friends. Still, Sarah wondered, why was that man at the playground? Was he really connected to the black car? Would he ever come back? She kept her notebook close, determined to be ready, just in case. Monday morning, Sarah arrived at school with her notebook in her backpack. She'd written every detail she could remember: the color of the man's shoes, the type of phone he was holding, even the strange way he limped when he walked away. Her teacher, Mrs. Lee, had read the pages and told Sarah she was very observant and that the police found her notes helpful. During recess, Sarah saw Officer Daniels talking with the principal outside the school doors. He gave Sarah a smile and a thumbs up, but Sarah could tell the grown-ups were worried. She overheard Mrs. Lee telling another teacher, "It's a good thing Sarah spoke up. That man could have been anybody." Sarah joined her friends for a game of hopscotch, trying to feel normal. But every time someone passed the fence or a car slowed near the curb, Sarah's stomach tightened. That afternoon, on the way home, Sarah and her friends followed their new routine, walking together, eyes up, checking both sides of the street before crossing. They stopped at the corner when Lily pointed to a black car parked across the road. It wasn't the exact same car as before. This one had tinted windows and no lightning bolt sticker. Still, Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "Let's wait for Mrs. Evans," Sarah whispered. The group huddled together, pretending to tie their shoes. A minute later, Mrs. Evans appeared, waving at them to cross. But as they reached the other side, Sarah glanced back and saw the car's window roll down just a crack. She caught a glimpse of a pair of sunglasses and a dark cap. The car sped off, turning sharply at the next intersection. Mrs. Evans called Officer Daniels, who drove by the school twice that afternoon. But the car was gone. That night, Sarah's mom baked cookies to help her relax, but Sarah couldn't stop thinking about what she'd seen. She drew a picture of the car and the face in the window, tapping it to the front of her notebook. At school the next day, everyone was more alert. Teachers checked the playground twice every hour. Officer Daniels talked to every class about stranger danger and the importance of speaking up if something didn't feel right. Sarah felt proud, but also a little scared. Was someone still watching her? Was the man in the black car giving up or just waiting? As the sun set and the streets grew quiet, Sarah stared out her bedroom window, determined to remember every detail, to stay brave, and to protect her friends. She knew she had to be ready, because the story wasn't over. The week rolled on, and Sarah noticed her friends trusted her more than ever. If anyone saw something unusual, always told Sarah first. She felt proud of her role, but it was a heavy feeling too, like she was carrying a secret backpack full of everyone's worries. Thursday afternoon, as the group left school, they saw a police cruiser parked across the street. Officer Daniels waving and keeping an eye on the block. Sarah felt safe for a moment until she noticed something odd in the distance. The same gray-hooded man from before, standing at the bus stop, half hidden by a billboard. Lily squeezed Sarah's hand. "That's him," she whispered, her eyes wide. Sarah nodded, her heartbeat quickening. She watched as the man glanced their way, then turned and boarded the next bus, almost as if he knew he was being watched. At home, Sarah updated her notebook. Gray hoodie man Thursday. Took bus 15 at 3:37 p.m. She drew the bus and wrote down everything she could remember about the route. Her mom praised her for being so observant and careful, but Sarah felt a little anxious. Would the man come back? Did he know they were watching him too? The next morning, just before the first bell, Officer Daniels visited Sarah's class. He showed the students a picture of a car and asked if anyone recognized it. Sarah raised her hand. "That's the car from yesterday. It was parked by the corner," she said. Officer Daniels nodded and thanked her. "You're helping a lot, Sarah. Sometimes little details can solve a big mystery." After school, Sarah's teacher asked her to stay behind for a moment. "Sarah, I want you to know you're not alone. If you ever feel scared or unsure, you can talk to me or any adult here. We're all looking out for you." Sarah nodded, feeling a little lighter. She packed up her notebook and walked home with her mom, the sky slowly turning pink above the rooftops. But as they reached their block, Sarah spotted a new car she'd never seen before, navy blue, with out-of-town plates. It was parked just a few houses away from hers, the engine still running, but no one inside. Sarah's mom noticed too. She squeezed Sarah's shoulder and whispered, "Let's go inside quickly and lock the door." Inside, Sarah watched the blue car from her window, heart pounding, notebook in hand. The neighborhood felt different now, less familiar, a little more dangerous. But she promised herself she'd keep paying attention. She'd keep her friends safe, because the story still wasn't finished. Not yet. That evening, Sarah could hardly focus on her homework. She kept glancing out her bedroom window, watching the navy blue car. After almost an hour, someone finally appeared, a man in a dark jacket, carrying a small bag, moving quickly to the car and driving away. Sarah wrote down the time and the car's license plate as best she could, even though some of the numbers were hard to see. At dinner, she showed her mom the notes. "You did great, honey," her mom said softly, though Sarah could see the worry in her eyes. "I'll call Officer Daniels and tell him what you saw." Sarah tried to relax as the night grew quiet, but every creak of the house or car outside made her jump. When she finally fell asleep, she dreamed she was running through empty streets, chased by shadows that always seemed just out of sight. The next morning, the police cruiser wasn't at the school, but Sarah noticed more teachers watching the gates. She walked with her friends in a tight group, and even the boys who usually teased her were quiet and serious. During art class, Mrs. Lee surprised Sarah by asking her to draw anything that made her feel brave. Sarah thought for a long time, then drew a picture of herself and her friends standing together under a bright sun, with Mrs. Evans and Officer Daniels in the background. She added the words, "We look out for each other." At lunch, Lily whispered, "My brother said his friend saw the black car near the grocery store last night. Do you think the man is still trying to watch us?" Sarah nodded. "Maybe, but we just have to keep being careful. Remember what Officer Daniels said. If something feels weird, tell a grown-up right away." That afternoon, Sarah and her friends stuck to the busy streets, and she checked behind them every few steps. Just as they reached the end of the block, Sarah saw a figure standing near the alley, half hidden in the shadow of a tall fence. She couldn't see his face, but he seemed to be watching their group. Without saying a word, Sarah steered everyone to the opposite side of the street, heart pounding in her chest. She glanced back only once, and the figure was gone. When Sarah got home, she wrote down everything in her notebook. She wondered if all this watching and waiting would ever stop, or if one day she might have to face the man from the black car again. That night, before bed, Sarah hugged her mom a little tighter. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she promised herself she wouldn't let fear win. She would stay brave, and she would keep watching, because her story and her fight to stay safe wasn't over yet. The weekend finally arrived, and Sarah tried to let herself relax. Her mom planned a movie night and baked chocolate chip cookies, hopping to make the house feel warm and safe. For a little while, Sarah almost forgot about the shadows outside. But on Sunday morning, as she was helping her mom water the front garden, Sarah noticed a scrap of paper stuck under the windshield wiper of their car. Her heart skipped a beat. She walked over and carefully pulled it free. It was a note, written in quick, messy handwriting. "Mind your own business." Sarah's breath caught. She stared at the words, her hands shaking. Who would leave this? Did it mean him? Was he watching their house now? She hurried inside and showed her mom, who immediately called Officer Daniels. He came to their house within the hour, studying the note with a tight jaw. "Sarah, you did the right thing. You and your mom should stay inside today. I'll ask the patrol to circle your street every hour." Sarah tried to be brave, but she kept thinking about the person who left that note. Had they seen her through the window? Did they know she was the one writing everything down? Later that day, Officer Daniels came back with another police officer. They checked the security camera on the neighbor's porch and promised to let Sarah's mom know if they saw anything strange. Still, as the sun set and the shadows grew longer outside, Sarah felt a new chill. She drew the words of the note in her journal and wrote underneath, "He knows we're watching too." The next morning, Sarah's mom drove her to school. As they pulled into the parking lot, Sarah spotted the same navy blue car parked across the street, the engine running. This time, she saw a different man behind the wheel, a woman, maybe, in a dark baseball cap, pretending to look at her phone. Sarah whispered to her mom, "That's the car from before, but now someone else is driving." Her mom nodded, her face pale. "We'll tell Officer Daniels. Stay close to your teacher all day, okay?" Sarah agreed. She joined her friends inside, trying to act normal, but she couldn't help glancing out the window every few minutes. She wondered, was someone new watching now? Or was it the same people trying to hide in plain sight? As the day went on, Sarah noticed more cars coming and going outside the school, more strangers sitting in parked vehicles. She kept writing down everything she saw, determined not to let fear stop her. The story wasn't finished, and Sarah knew she had to be ready for whatever came next. All week, Sarah felt like the world had changed. She noticed every detail: which cars drove past her house, which strangers sat too long at the park, which faces showed up more than once near the school fence. Her notebook was filling up with descriptions, license plate numbers, and tiny, nervous doodles of eyes peeking out of car windows. At school, teachers took attendance twice each day and reminded students to stay together, especially during recess. Officer Daniels started showing up not just at dismissal, but also during lunch, talking quietly to the principal, and sometimes even peering out from behind the curtains in the office. One afternoon, while Sarah and her friends played on the swings, she noticed the navy blue car again. This time, it was parked further down the street, behind a line of bushes. She watched as the woman in the baseball cap lowered her window just enough to look through binoculars, scanning the playground. Sarah's heart hammered. She's not just watching me, Sarah thought. She's watching all of us. She hurried to Mrs. Evans and pointed out the car. Mrs. Evans immediately called Officer Daniels on her walkie-talkie. Within minutes, 2 police cars quietly pulled up behind the navy blue car. The woman inside didn't notice until Officer Daniels tapped on her window. Sarah and her friends held their breath as the woman was questioned. The teachers herded all the students inside. Everyone was buzzing with nervous excitement. Was this it? Had they caught the person who'd been watching Sarah and her friends? But 20 minutes later, the police cars left. Mrs. Evans explained that the woman said she was just waiting for her nephew and had no criminal record. But Sarah could see that the adults didn't really believe her. That night, Sarah felt both relieved and more nervous than ever. The message was clear. Someone was out there, and they were determined. They'd even changed their driver and their story. But Sarah and her friends weren't giving up. Now, other kids started their own notebooks. Everyone in the neighborhood was watching, not just for themselves, but for each other. Before bed, Sarah read over her notes again and stared at her latest drawing. The navy blue car with different faces behind the wheel. She whispered to herself, "I'm not alone. We're all watching now." The moon shone through her window, making strange shapes on the wall. Sarah knew tomorrow could bring something new, a clue, a face, maybe even an answer. But tonight, the story was still unfinished, and Sarah was ready. A heavy rain started the next morning, turning the sidewalks shiny and the sky gray. Sarah pressed her face to the window as her mom drove her to school. Raindrops made it hard to see, but she still checked every parked car along the way. At school, the principal made an announcement. For everyone's safety, all students will be dismissed from the main entrance and must wait inside until their parent or guardian arrives. Sarah glanced at her friends. They all knew why. During class, Sarah was distracted, watching the rain run down the glass, trying to spot anything unusual outside. At lunch, Lily whispered, "My mom says maybe the police will catch them soon." I hope she's right. But Sarah shook her head. They're being careful now. We have to be extra careful too. The afternoon felt endless. Just as the last bell rang, Sarah's teacher pulled her aside. "Sarah, your mom is waiting in the office. I'll walk you down." As they turned the corner to the office, Sarah saw Officer Daniels talking with her mom. They both looked serious. Her mom knelt down and hugged Sarah tightly. "Sarah, Officer Daniels wants to talk to you about the notes you've been keeping." "He says they could really help," her mom said. Sarah nodded and handed over her notebook, every page packed with observations and dates. Officer Daniels looked impressed. "You've noticed things even we missed," he said. "Did you see anything new today?" Sarah shook her head. "Just the rain. And there was a silver van with dark windows parked near the stop sign, but I didn't see who was inside." Officer Daniels wrote it down, then smiled. "You're making a difference, Sarah. I think we're getting closer." Sarah felt a mix of hope and fear. Closer meant safer, but it also meant that whoever was behind all this was running out of options. Would they try something desperate? That night, thunder rattled the windows as Sarah wrote in a new notebook. Her old one was almost full. She added a map of her neighborhood, marking where the strange cars had parked, and drew lines connecting each spot. She stared at it, searching for a pattern. Suddenly, lightning flashed, and for a moment, Sarah thought she saw a shadow move outside. She raced to her mom's room, and they checked every lock together. The rain beat hard on the roof. Sarah whispered, "I just want this to end." Her mom hugged her. "I know, sweetie, but we're not alone. We have Officer Daniels, your teachers, our neighbors, and each other." Sarah nodded, but as she climbed into bed, she knew the story was still going. Tomorrow, she would keep watching, because someone out there was still watching too, and she was determined to see this story through, no matter what. The next morning, the rain had stopped and a fresh breeze blew through the neighborhood. Sarah woke up determined today. She would not let fear control her. At breakfast, her mom smiled gently. Officer Daniels called. He'll be at the school all day. When Sarah arrived, she saw police officers at every entrance. Parents, teachers, and even neighbors volunteered to patrol the block. Kids clustered together, notebooks in hand, ready to write down anything that seemed suspicious. After school, as Sarah and her friends waited at the front entrance, she spotted the silver van again, this time rolling slowly past the school. Sarah grabbed her friend Lily's hand. "Look, that's the van from yesterday." Officer Daniels, already nearby, took out his radio and signaled the other officers. 2 police cars quietly moved to block the van as it stopped at a red light. A tense moment passed. Then the officers stepped forward and asked the driver to step out. Inside the van were 2 adults, both recognized by the police from old security footage. They matched the descriptions in Sarah's notebook, right down to the sunglasses, dark caps, and even a gray hoodie on the seat. They had no reason to be near the school, and after a search, the police found items that suggested they had been watching more than just Sarah and her friends. Sarah watched as the officers placed the adults in handcuffs. Her hands trembled not from fear, but from relief. She hugged her friends, and when her mom arrived, she ran into her arms. That evening, Officer Daniels visited Sarah's house. "Because you were brave, and because you paid attention, you helped keep your whole neighborhood safe. You reminded everyone that even one person can make a difference." Sarah smiled for the first time in weeks. She finally felt safe. Her notebook was full, but so was her heart, full of pride, hope, and a new understanding of what it means to look out for others. In the end, Sarah learned something important. Courage isn't about never being scared. It's about doing the right thing even when you're afraid. When you speak up, trust your instincts, and look out for each other, you help create a safer world for everyone. No one is too small to make a difference, and together, we are always stronger than alone.